Price is wrong, bitch.
Oh. I got a shirt that says that.
Well, alrighty. Welcome one and welcome all to episode 66.
One is not welcome.
Of the world of Skell-Ghosts.
Ghosts.
And we just finished the first third of our adventure, in my estimation. Although you never know how long these things are going to turn out. And we can recap the first third of our adventure by saying that a person only known as the Man hired individuals by dropping coins in pouches on the ground, and each of them had to decide what to do with those pouches of coins. All of them that were involved ended up meeting up with the Man later at his home. And that is what he chose to go by, the Man. No other name. He said he was a collector of antiquities and rare things. And he had a female companion who did not speak and basically just waited on him, although he showed her deep affection. And those original individuals were two Acharamans from another continent, soldiers, based on ancient Rome, but they were elves. There was a locksmith in the port town of Tila. There was a druid of the Aslorian Circle that has made his way into the city. There was a roguish entertainer who had recently come from a stint at sea aboard a particular sailing vessel, and a bounty hunter of some renown, a member of the Bounty Hunters Guild of Tila. And they met up with some drow, they met up with some women on the road that turned into birds. They met up with a purple worm or a giant worm riding drow captain of the guard. One of them had was being pursued by a drow princess, and eventually they ended up going to Black Rock Abbey and trying to stop whatever was taking the villagers that were disappearing. And they ended up finding a creature from the depths of some type of water, either the ocean or rivers or what have you. And it was in league or enslaved to an ancient wizard that had ruled the area in long past, but had been defeated. And they went to the Cave of Madness. Unfortunately, there they lost a representative of the Blend, the most popular religious sect in the Republic. The Blend is the Church of the Blended Cosmic Omnipotent Benevolence. And had to explain that away to the high priest, the praetor of the church. But having done such a good job for the man in finding out what happened to his daughter, he got them out of that entanglement by exerting his influence. They then went back to the abbey. This was before they went to the abbey. Then after they defeated the creature in the cave, they encountered a monk who turned out to be a servant of the wizard, hoping to bring him back to life. And the monk kicked the shit out of the characters at the abbey and was hoping to get the horn of the Chiron to release his master from the dungeon of the abbey, and players saw through his ruse and they defeated the monk and destroyed the entity in the dungeon, brought the Chiron's mate back to life with the horn that was hidden in the abbey's in the abbot's home. And they were heroes for a time. And then they decided that they would go and attempt to defeat these slavers. They heard of a connection between this Bazanagon and people being taken and sold into slavery. And they thought that they would go and attempt to stop these slavers, and that led them to a wooden fort. And there they saw the Acharamans with loading slaves, and they attacked from the cliffside, and they slayed a giant eagle, the symbol of the Acharamans, and lots of Acharamans there, and a giant of a man down at the docks. They thought about making the fort their home for a while until they realized that the Acharamans were going to push further inward. So they burned the fort down and fled on foot with the slaves. And when they made it back to the abbey after many, many days, some of the slaves made their way to their former homes, and others came with them back to the abbey and were taken care of. The bounty hunter, he had left the group. The locksmith went back to Tila. Shortly after that, the two Acharamans were left. And then they picked up a couple new guys, Boris and Guy, Pykel the dwarf, and eventually they got Vanessa to join from the abbey. And they decided to go and see if they could find the next slave lord. And they made it to Tila and found a captain to take them there, but before he could take them, Vanessa's mother and one of the witches that had tortured Shadrach in his youth appeared. She was not amused that Vanessa and the others had removed the curse upon this man that was helping them. And the Achaemenians killed everyone was there except for the man who they let him live. And they followed Phymes onto the Achaemenid ship, and they took it to an island, and there they encountered Helios. Before then, they had found and identified a large amount of huge coins from a bygone era that supposedly was meant to pay tribute and end the giant dragon war. But the giant that was delivering the coins was betrayed and left to rot. And the giants and the dragons were left to continue their fight. And along the way, Phymes explained that because the dragon that used to live on the continent was destroyed, the giants felt emboldened to take back their land, or to take it regardless of whether they had it first or not. And the group convinced Phymes, Vanessa's mother, an ogress shaman, to take them to see the leader of the giants, and hoping to ask for a truce, perhaps offer something in return. And upon learning that the group had the coins of the tribute, Phymes thought that that would probably be good enough for their Caesar. They would need to pay tribute to each giant in the ordning being the hierarchy of giants based on size and strength. And along the way, Phymes made it clear that she thought very little of the smaller races, humans, elves, dwarves, etc. And she made it clear that she was willing to do whatever needed to be done to get her daughter to embrace her heritage. Everyone hated Phymes. And I would just like to say, as the Dungeon Master, I would like to congratulate myself on creating such a hated fictional character.
Yeah, I'll applaud that.
But hold your applause, because so they met Helios, a hill giant of the first island, surrounded by his ogre guards, and through a series of maneuvers and unfortunate dice rolls, a fight started, and everyone was enjoying themselves except for, of course, the heroes, because they were getting beaten on by ogres. And eventually, though, they prevailed against most of the ogres. And then Helios asked for tribute, was given coins of the ancient giant dragon what would be the term? Not alliance, but contract, or whatever, the treaty. And they were allowed to leave. Apparently, Helios also went by the name of Stallman Clem. But the guys, they didn't I guess they didn't understand when he said Stallman Klim gives you his blessing that the giant was speaking in the first person. So,
Nope, did not get that.
I mean, he raised his hand and cast a spell, and then the other ogres came back to life. So I needed to make it more clear what happened, I guess. Either that or the DM did something that players hate, which is take established things that they know and turn them on their head, and in the confusion it was lost. That's what I assume happened there. Because how could a hill giant cast a spell? That's not D&D. Oh.
I've never seen a hill giant before. I don't know what they can do. I didn't get that he was Stallman Klim, but I thought he was in league with. See, I told you, I'm not good at hints and clues. I'm that guy.
You are that. What's weird though is that you perfectly understood the thing with the Kyren.
And that was cool. I totally enjoyed that.
There was a moment of confusion there, and I remember that because I remember us all going, huh? And then we got it. But it took a little bit of, we all had to, put our heads together, but yeah.
So they left that island and continued on.
Brad's cars joined the game.
They had to fight some They had to fight some harpies on the ocean. Always fun. And then they made it to the island of Infante, and this was a mountain giant, and he acted very infantile, making stupid jokes and laughing with Faimez, and he thought she was really cool, like a cool aunt that comes to visit and brings chocolate.
Yeah, and we were the chocolate.
That's what the DM was going for anyway. And then, as they were helping defend Infantile's home from an incursion of Koatoa, they decided that they were going to kill Faimez right then and take advantage of it. So then a new fight happened, and eventually Faimez was defeated, and unfortunately the squire of Guy was killed by Infante because Infante was stomping mad at what was going on, and
boo.
Then Infante was given some coins, and he told them that he didn't like them anymore and they should leave. And they did. And he said that Caesar was going to be really mad. And so they left. And when they got back to the ship, the Achaemenians were asking around, and they were unsure of how to take the news that Faimez was not coming back. The Achaemenians are not stupid and not untrained and not without resources. And so they were unsure of how to react. Before they left and went to the island, they thought that the group was pretty cool for helping defeat all the harpies, but that incident sort of changed their mind. So
there again was an example of the Achaemenians were hated. My characters hated the Achaemenians, so cooperating with them was like a real push.
So, as they were going to the next island, sounds like someone's got a pipe or bong there.
Brad's got a bong in the back seat there.
No. I don't think he's in the car.
These three titanic entities, probably 100 feet tall or more, on a ship built for their size, told the group that since they had defeated Faimez, that the culmination of Faimez's plan was stopped, unable to be fulfilled, and that Caesar would seek another way. On Infante's Island, Bart met his daughter, who came a long way to see her, or him, and if taken at face value, that would be an interesting thing to uncover more, but that was that interaction was short-lived, and they were soon gone. However, the three large titanic entities revealed some very intricate and intertwined secrets. The Costello's egg was actually the set piece of the ring for the Titan known as Cryos, the Titan for in charge of. I wrote this down here. I think it was. Come on. Yes, Cryos, Titan god of the constellations, and apparently Cryos, in his infinite wisdom, had gone through a magical portal that can shatter a living thing into 1,000 pieces or recombine them into one large thing. And unfortunately, at one time there was one piece of Cryos having been sent out in the world to find this magical artifact, Constello's egg. That turned out to be the man, the unnamed guy, originally who had dropped the coins in a foreshadowing of the coins used to make the treaty between the giants and the dragons. And history has a way of repeating itself. So there are metaphors on top of metaphors in this story. One which, in hindsight, was obviously was set up to be played over 4, 5, 6 years, but that's just not something we're going to be able to do. So, we now have everyone back at the Abbey after Bart teleported everyone back. Bart had a brief conversation with Terminus, the senator of Akarema, who was apparently in charge of the Akaramans here, and Bart made some veiled threats, and Terminus did not take the bait. But Terminus did warn Bart that Akarema is not without its own powerful entities, and it did not rule over an entire continent through sheer luck. And they left. And they ended up back at the Abbey. And Abbot Patrick was glad to see Vanessa and the others. But Vanessa soon realized that the sacred bundle that she removed from her mother upon her death was somehow tied to her own. And that possibly in Faimez's wisdom, she knew that destroying one of the sacred bundles would destroy the other. or maybe they weren't connected at all. In any case, that's a chance and that's a mystery for another day for Vanessa to figure out. And perhaps either turn to her advantage or accept the consequences. And then finally, they were all told by the three Titanic entities that Cryos would become searching another way, because until he is made whole as he had hoped to be made somehow, he will never rest. Vanessa, upon reaching Cryos, would probably have been able to heal him and perhaps avert disaster, but alas, that is a thread that we will have to let die into what could have been. And that brings us to today. So you are all outside shortly before sunset. And there is a fire that has just burned and a sacred bundle which refused to go away in the middle of this heat and ash. And the head of the hag, as she was called, was used to cast a spell of divination to see what would be the best way to combat the witch's coven. Unfortunately, the player rolled a 99, and he had a 67 or 68% chance of success. So even with his utter failure at his dice roll, I gave him a piece of information for free because of the way he role played it. And that is that all of these witches are unique. Other than reducing all of them to 0 hit points in whatever way you deem appropriate, there is no pull the plug and all of them fall over like the Chitauri against the Avengers. These are all powerful, unique entities that have had their hands and their minds at work over generations. And if the Cryos, the Titan of the constellations, is willing to enlist one of their help to secure his freedom from his agony, then you would be safe to assume that each one of them in itself is enough to base an entire adventure around. So, as the characters all stand around the fire and stare meekly at this bag that refused to go away and look at each other, it is for you all to decide what to do with yourself. So first of all, Jason, you had his hand up a little while ago. Was there something?
No, that's okay. I was thinking of something else. It's all right.
Okay. And then Clark, you had your hand up.
I understand Pikel. Pikel was asked by Vanessa if he could examine both bundles.
Yes, you may.
Alright.
She gives you one, and the other is on a cord around her neck. She doesn't take it off, but she pulls it out and puts it in your hand.
Pikel's carefully examining the ends of both bundles to determine whether they used to be one bundle. Thinking that was an awful small bundle for an ogre, and she might have split her own bundle of power to transfer it to her daughter.
So you're examining specifically
The ends of each branch and wood.
both. You have both of them? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So they don't look alike. They are both unique. Finesse's can be however Vanessa would like it to look, but what I imagine is a fist, and when I say a fist, her fist-sized pouch that has things in it. You would have to open it to find out what's in it.
Oh, I thought they were like, for some reason, they're like a bundle, like some kind of bundle.
Yeah, I was imagining like a gauze wrapped something.
Well, you can make it however you want, but I'm going, this is based off of Indian mythos, like feather Indian, not dot Indian. And they had sacred bundles in their culture, and it was supposed to provide healing and other assorted,
protection
things.
Yeah.
So each sacred bundle can do different things depending on what the creator would like it to do. I would say I think Vanessa knows what her sacred bundle does. If she does not, I can text Daryl.
I do.
And what other sacred bundles do is up to the creator. So Famez's bundle looks to be made of a combination of leather and stitching and possibly some type of other skin that isn't leather that has been woven and compacted into a strong, supple, but not leather material. And I will let your imagination go as to what you think that might be. It might be exactly what you're thinking, but I can't tell you unless, for instance, if you had tanning or something like that, something that has to do with the creation of or using of animal flesh, that would be a thing that theoretically would allow you perhaps to know exactly what type of skin this was. I'm going to assume you do not have that.
Probably, or armor. I don't know if that's...
No, that's not it. If I remember correctly, you have things that deal with minerals and metal. Not so much
armor. It's
organic material.
Does it got small little bumps and a few gray hairs every now and then?
Possibly, yeah. Okay, and so I would say without rolling, these do not look like these were combined, connected, or created to be similar, other than the fact that they both have something inside of them that you're unaware of.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm going to...
Well, let me go to Daryl.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Vanessa just thinks it's scrotum.
Probably is.
A scrotum totem.
Probably is the scrotums of all of the men that Famez has used and thrown away over the years in hopes to finally have a female that instead of a male. But who knows?
If you squeeze it just right, it goes.
I thought if you tickled it, it went crinkle.
It's shrinking its skull.
All right. So, unless you have something else you want to do. All right, go ahead.
I don't think they were one. Doesn't look that way. But it was a valid query. I think I'm going to detect and see if I can determine if there's any sort of curse. I know there's an evil taint to it.
He said taint.
Just scrotum.
So I'm going to take out the second gem that Bart had given me. And I take the sacred bundle, Mother's sacred bundle. I place it on the ground on my silken sash. In the... before I start that, I'd look around for a cherry blossom or a plum blossom tree, so I better start there. I'm going to look for blossom. Using my herbalism, I will look around the area. Give me a minute, fellas. I need a blossom.
Okay. You roll me a you know what? No. You remember that in the orchard there are cherry trees.
Maybe I'll save this spell for a little while later, but if I can detect any sort of curse upon it, as I said, I know it's got some evil emanations, and it's definitely magical. The bundle that she made for me enhances my knowledge and my wisdom, so that's what helps me negotiate the world of humans and be amongst great adventurers like yourselves. Without this bundle, I'm afraid I would revert to a beast. And she tucks it back in her blouse.
So you find a cherry tree and do what?
I will pick a blossom from it.
And the sweet scent of the orchards is you'd almost forgotten why you love the monastery so much. All right, so unless someone else has anything else they want to do in the evening, we'll skip ahead.
Shad walks off into the grove. Doesn't say a word.
Okay.
Boris finds a piece of wood that is to his liking and begins to carve upon it.
Very good.
He says, I'm leaving tomorrow. I have to report in, and I have to tell Paco's family what happened. I know so much that needs to be told to my master and lord. Remaining here won't help at all.
You might want to...
Yes?
What'd you say, Clark? You cut out.
I was going to say, you might want to rally him against those Acaranians.
No kidding. Boy, you're sharp.
I can sharpen.
Your help has come at a great cost. Thank you for all you've done.
If I return,
Boris
it will be with 100 men.
Boris will wish you well also. I'll be going home soon too.
Remember me, Boris, and I've told you where I live. You can come find me if you want. You're always welcome at my home.
Thank you.
Yeah. Weirdos.
Okay. All right. Anything else before we turn in?
Tanessa will cast her spell.
What spell is she casting?
Detect curse.
And is she doing this before everyone goes away?
I don't know if they followed me to the cherry tree or they went their own ways.
Okay,
so
so-
whoever's with me is with me.
So you do it in the grove. Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
All right, so.
And I'll find a peaceful spot in the grass, and I light my incense in my small censer, fan it with a leaf a little bit, drop the fresh cherry blossom onto it, let it begin to sizzle. I place my silken scarf on the ground. I put the sacred bundle in the middle of it.
Which one?
On one side, I place the gem that Bart had given me. On the other side, I place my holy symbol. And I begin to pray. O Heavenly Surgeon, healer of all, cleanser, give me the sight. Let the energy from this mineral flow through the sacred bundle of Fimez. Search it, seek out and detect any curse that is upon this. Show me the evil that is blocking the true magic. And it takes a round, and I focus my path of effect directly on Fimez's sacred bundle.
Okay. So this is a very rare spell. So I need you to roll your religion check, please.
Is this where the +4 for the blend comes in?
Correct?
I rolled a 19.
I would assume you would need to roll anything but a 1 because your religion should be very high.
It's 19.
Yeah. So,
And I rolled a 19.
all right. So yeah, I mean theoretically you could have exploded, but close. 38. Okay. So. Okay. Okay. You detect that there is something there. You feel for a moment like you are a child being held and hugged by a mother with a very distinct smell. And you remember getting used to the smell over as soon as you could remembering smells. And that is a very distinct smell that you have, as if something is attempting to embrace you, but not to the point where you feel like you have to shake off an effect. Just that there is no curse upon this item. Unless the curse would be of a memory of a time when your mother actually loved you in the way that you understand love and not in the way she does.
And I weep.
At that, Shadrach, I would like Vanessa to roll a D10, please.
7.
Okay, you hear someone approaching. Do you have infravision?
Yes.
You can tell that Shadrach is at the edge of your infravision and he seems to be walking into the grove. Not necessarily towards you, but in that general direction.
Do I notice her? Do I smell anything?
You need to roll a perception check, please.
Alright.
Shadrach.
Well, you don't need to roll because as you're walking, you hear the voice of Vanessa through the low light of the fading day.
I'll walk up upon her.
She doesn't seem like she's very happy right now. And her face appears to be wet as if someone splashed water on her.
I'm kneeling and I'll wrap up my items. There's no curse on the bundle.
Do you say that, or
Yes.
that bundle is cursed? It's cursed with all the foul memories that have tainted you. And it should be destroyed.
It's
Shredded.
connected. It's connected to me. The essence of my mother remains the woman she once was. How are you doing?
Dad will walk up to Vanessa and look down at her. You notice that his eyes are green with little tiny red pupils. And he says, come away with me now. Let's leave this place. They've done nothing for you. There's nothing here for you. Your own mother betrayed you.
These people
Why?
saved me from that.
You turned to her effortlessly. You joined
What do you
her.
mean? I didn't join her.
You
I-
walked with her, you slept in her room with her. She dragged you around by the collar. It was as if
I
nothing ever
hoped-
happened.
I hoped to learn her weakness. She did have a hold on me. I was afraid of her.
I should have killed her at the first opportunity I had.
She became an evil witch,
She
and
wasn't.
it pains me to find out that her coven was responsible. What do you remember of those times? Where were you held?
I still. Why would you bring that up? Why?
If our friends seek to destroy the coven, perhaps your memories can lead us to somewhere that we could find them or a trace of
I
them.
can show you exactly where it was. I remember. Remember this. It was destroyed by warriors who came there. That's how I escaped. If there's anything left of it, I saw them slay the witches, cut them down, burn them, like they did my people.
Then there's nothing left there to find.
If you want to go there, I can take you. I can take you there now.
I want to go to the fort, the Deepwater Fort, and build a temple. And you can protect the forests. And I can welcome demi-humans, such as myself.
The forest must be sacred and unsullied. I will not tolerate interference of outsiders.
Where do you wish to go?
I must go and protect the egg. That is my duty for now.
I will go north with you.
Very soon, I will be called forth to the circle to prove myself. Only so many of us can exist at once. And before that time, I must prepare. I must strengthen my will. I must bring myself and focus upon the balance which is so far out that it almost drives me insane. I didn't expect to find you here, Vanessa. I expected that I was going to come out here and secret myself away and meditate. And now
This is a good place for that.
you brought those memories back to me that I sought to remove.
I use my ability soothing word, and I put my hand on his shoulder.
No, no.
Try not to get worried, try not to turn on to problems that upset you. Don't you know everything's alright? Yes, everything's fine.
I turn into an owl and fly away.
The water's cool and the ointment's sweet.
I wish I knew all the words. I like everything that's going on here. Both of you can have a 37.
Very good.
But yeah, I fly off into the woods.
Shadrach.
I will be casting a spell when I get the chance. After I fly a fair distance away, I will return to human form and cast a spell.
Vanessa retires for the evening.
Very good. Okay. Anything else from anybody? We'll get back to you, Jason, here in a second. I'm just going to give these guys one more chance. Clark, anything from Pikel before you go to sleep?
What's the area like? What is it? Forest, field?
Well, it's like a civilized English countryside. So you got open fields that are grazing land and farm. There's fields that are plowed, and there's pigs and chickens and sheep. A few heads of cattle, but not many. And most of those are milking for milk and butter and that kind of stuff. So the Abbey's got several buildings, which I'm gonna put on the board here, just because I found the map I drew, and we can take a look at it real quick. And I'm gonna zoom in on this. You probably won't be able to see it very well, but it's a little fuzzy because this isn't, unfortunately, high def. But I'm going to just point out real quick. So where you guys, like the front gate is down here, right? And then there's a wall that kind of goes around, not in a square or anything. It's just kind of haphazardly laid out, and the wall isn't like bricks or anything. It's like stones that have been piled on top of other stones with mortar holding it in place. So it's the only place that the walls are kind of like reinforced or by the front gate where guys can walk up there, and it's not like they can walk all the way around on the top of the wall. So then back over here and over here, there's gates that lead out. If you go up this way, it leads to the grove and pasture. And like over here, there's all open grazing land. And then here's some gardens that you'll grow your herbs and tomatoes and all that kind of stuff, beans. And then over here there's a stream and more pasture. This is a stable. And then eventually you're going to go in the building. And so what's back here is where the people that like come to visit that aren't ill, they would stay back here. This here is an infirmary, and that's where the sick people, they're each get taken care of here by the monks. Courtyard, open, dining hall, kitchen, the temple. It has two big doors that lead in. That's the altar. And then over here is the what I call the crafting area. So you got, you know, your carpenters and smithies and paper makers and etc. So, and then in the countryside there's homes and not the inside of the abbey. There's a place for the guards to stay, and then the monks live here as well. That building's just kind of back here. I don't have it on the map. So, was there anything more that you needed to know, Michael?
Yeah, no idea. I thought I would see if there's any huge stones or like any kind of rock formations.
You find out that there's rock formations down by the stream. Okay.
I go outside the wall and set up a women's secure shelter.
Okay. Any particular place?
Just a clearing outside the wall. Outside the abbey.
Okay. Do you want to be north, south, east, or west of the abbey?
I guess north.
Okay. So that's forest. Would you rather be in a forest or would you rather be in an open field?
Forest is
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. So north is where you want to go for sure.
Okay.
Okay. And then, should we go back to Jason? Are you guys kind of content with where you are? Okay. So Jason, you change into a bird, you flew off, and then forever long you hung out as a bird, and then you changed back into human form, and then you said you were going to cast a spell.
I was going to go north as well, to the edge of the what I would call the cultivated areas, like the orchards and stuff like that. Probably about, I don't know, 50 yards, 100 yards into the woods. I'm sneaking into the woods. When I turn to human form...
Yeah, I want you, this is just for fun. Shadrach roll a D6 and Bart roll a D6. Shadrach got a 5. That's all right. We're not in any hurry.
4.
A 4. Okay, so Shadrach, as you fly out there and you change. Hi, thanks for the cheesecake.
You're welcome.
That was awesome. I finally finished it 2 nights ago, and it didn't seem to raise my blood sugar, which is weird. So as good as it was, I don't understand how that happened, but man, it was delicious.
Because it was well made, that's why.
Okay, so Shadrach, you land, and right when you land, you think you're landing on a tree 50 yards in, when suddenly you go, and instead of landing on a tree, you're on the roof of a house that appeared out of nowhere.
I recognize this, right?
Not at first, but then you're just kind of dumbfounded, and you kind of hop over to the edge and hold on, and you look down, and then you're like, oh, duh. Yes.
All right, I will go, let's see here. I'm not measuring with a ruler or anything, but Chad will go about 200 feet or so further north.
Okay.
And then I will change into human form. And I will proceed to cast I'm going to cast actually 2 spells, but it's not like they're, the first spell I cast is Plant Growth. I am creating a 180 by 180 square foot entanglement, just brush, thorns, and I'm in the middle of it. I'm casting the first application of the spell. Briars, bushes, creepers, blah blah blah, and to walk through it, you actually have to cut your way through. You just can't walk into it. So there's like this big igloo of totally entwined plants, thorns, and I'm at the center of it. And when I get to the center of it, that is, I will go through. I'm making like a singular casting of 2 spells, because I'm going to cast Plant Growth again, the second application, and this time I reach into my bag and I have a few seeds of mistletoe, and I'm going to spread them around, throw them around, kind of like that guy on Facing the Argonauts with the Hydra seed. And I cast the second application of Plant Growth to create this thick. This mistletoe is entwining everything. Mistletoe is all throughout this big thicket that I've created. And I will meditate for as much of the night as I can. In fact, after I've done cast these spells, I will shape-shift again into a wolf and remain at the center of the thicket until morning or something like that, or until the next active phase of the group.
That sounds awesome. So now I'm going to ask you for some details that aren't necessarily important, but I'm just curious.
Okay.
So first of all, the spell casting, I understand it. So is there a lid on it, or is it like a wall, like a square?
It is, okay, let me read it again here. I can choose to make it different. I have 20 square feet per level, per size. So basically it's, like I said, I made kind of like an igloo. Let's see here. It doesn't really say that it's open top, but if you want to say it's open top, I won't dispute that.
Is it a wall? If it says wall, then obviously it wouldn't have a roof.
Let me read quickly here. Enables the caster to, okay. The first causes normal vegetation to grow, entwine, and entangle to form a thicket or jungle. So I would say it has a canopy. But that's my interpretation. I'd like to think that I made like this big igloo of...
Oh, okay. So it's like a solid jam, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, I put 2 of these over the Constance egg.
So it's like
I cast a double on the Constance egg.
The Constance egg. Nice. Don't touch my feathers.
So, and then I created a bunch of fresh mistletoe, which I will harvest. I will kneel before I change into a wolf. I'm kneeling at the center of this thicket, which is all around me, and I imagine these vines and stuff are like reaching out and touching me and coiling around my ankles and stuff like that, and I'm on my knees. I take off all my clothes. I rip off all my clothing. I'm buck naked, and I'm touching all the greenery and saying, Mother of Skell, Mother of the Earth, Father of the Sky, give me strength to carry on, because I'm being bombarded with these memories thanks to Vanessa. And as I fall to my knees, and my hands and knees, I look up and see through a tiny gap. Is there a moon, by the way?
you see a waxing crescent, very thin. So you're just leaving a new moon.
Like a sickle.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Through this little tiny gap, I will see the moon, and that's when I will be inspired, and my eyes go from green with a tiny red pupil to red with a tiny green pupil, and I change into a wolf and howl as loud as I can. And I'm going to howl all night long and keep you fuckers awake.
Okay, so it says the second use of the spell, I have to secretly make a saving throw, but I would like you to make it, and I'd like you to make it with advantage.
There's a saving throw for the second application?
You're using it to...
okay, right on. All right.
So you're saving versus spells.
All right. Can you save with advantage so I roll twice?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my first roll was a 20.
Okay, so now I would like you to roll a d4 twice, but don't add it up. Take the best of two rolls.
So I'm adding them up?
No, you're taking the best of two rolls.
Well, it's a 4, so...
Okay. So, however...
Wow, that was a badass roll. To grow some freaking bushes.
So, no, the bushes and all that just happens. You said the second use you were trying to increase the yield of mistletoe or something. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, I was making it grow. I threw out the seeds and, to make them grow.
So, yeah, you got a bunch of it.
And it will be there in the future. Aha.
So
and this igloo is permanent until it's destroyed.
Apparently your mental anguish facilitates a deeper connection to the mana and the Earth Mother. So there you go. Okay, so I would like, well, let's see. How about Pikel and Vanessa and Guy and Boris all roll d20s, and I will ask for the number. So let's just start with Pikel.
11.
And then Guy.
11.
And then Vanessa.
1.
And then Boris.
Come on.
2.
Wow, amazing. Okay.
I know.
And then, hold on. And then Bart, I would like you, unless your spell keeps sound out, like you can't hear anything outside of the secure shelter, I would like you to roll a d20, please.
Oh, if it does not, so. 19.
Okay, so Vanessa and Boris, of all the people, off in the distance, you hear a lone wolf. And
It's very close, actually. It's not even 100 yards away.
So everyone else did not hear the lone wolf. They seem to be able to fall asleep in these comfy beds compared to the hammocks on the ship. And we go to the next day. Go ahead, Michael.
I'm feeling the dwarven itch. He would get up after doing his prayers and his morning rituals, go straight to the forge and help out there.
Okay. Easily done. First thing you need to do is roll a charisma check, please.
All right, 9, 10, 11, 21.
21. Okay. You are viewed with like sort of a curiosity at first, and when you offer to help out, it's kind of like, okay, yeah. And now I would like you to roll your what is the non-weapon proficiency for is it blacksmithing? Is that what you have?
I have cut off list. It's a good list. I have smithing, smelting, armory. All right, armor,
Okay.
artistic proficiency. So I assume I could blacksmith.
Yeah, you like to assume stuff, Clark. You're funny.
What?
Well, go ahead and roll me a d20 anyway.
5, 15.
Man, it sounds like we're having a drag race out here. Jesus.
Character with blacksmithing proficiency is capable of making tools and implements from iron. Use of the proficiency requires a forge with a coal fed. Okay.
And now they're making weapons there.
Armor. Character can make all types of armor listed in the player's handbook given the proper materials and facilities. Okay, so basically you're not the guy that makes the tools that makes the armor. You have somebody else make the tools. You're not the tool and die man. So though you know your way around the beating of metal, and it doesn't necessarily make you proficient in doing everything that a blacksmith can do. So you help out in areas that you can. When it's time to make shoes for horses, considering the dwarves don't ride horses because their legs do not reach the stirrups, and because it would require climbing, it's more work than it's worth for a dwarf to ride a horse. Ponies, possibly. Donkeys, possibly. But you got to remember, you're small. You're short. So
I'm tall.
So you help out. You seem pleasant enough. They seem pleasant enough to you. But there aren't any great tragedies nor revelations to be had during the morning of helping out in the smith. Anybody else? Jason.
He wants to go visit the abbot if he may.
Okay. Daryl had his hand up.
Vanessa will be praying in her room, and she will cast a spell when she's done.
All right. Anybody else for morning things?
Me, hold on. I'm trying to write it down so I can make sure I have go around words. I'm studying ascending. After I study my spell, so I'm studying ascending to blackout.
Okay.
let's see. It says blackout. It is Bartholanthes. I'm having an issue with Phonos, who is trying to return to Skell. Can you assist? Have and contribute for you. That's all I can send him.
Okay. You cast
And he,
you cast the spell.
yeah.
And you are familiar with if a spell, usually you're familiar with if a spell is successful or not.
Right.
With sending, there really isn't any way of knowing if it's successful
Unless he answers me
unless
back.
they
Yeah.
reply.
Unless he answers me back. And if he doesn't, that's just leave it at that.
I would like you to make an intelligence check, please.
Yep. Three. Plus my intelligence 19.
Total?
22. 22 total.
22. Okay. It is important
Good Lord have mercy.
Oh, okay. Okay. Bart, I need you to roll percentile, please.
Oh, fuck me. Let me see.
30 or less, his leg falls off.
Yeah. My ace ball is fucking dragon talk to me. 68.
Okay. So the spell says if the creature in question you can read the spell, but
Yeah.
you should, by you having to roll the percentile, that gives you a bit of information that you might not have already known.
Right.
And there is a response, but it's garbled,
Okay.
as if it's straining the limits of your magical power,
Right.
and you feel the strain upon your energy and your brain, and this message comes through. How cruel of you to reveal this now. My worst fear come true. Nature abhors a vacuum. Alas, the long sleep is my fate.
He's dead. Fuck. Okay.
Bummer.
Well, I think maybe dragon friend. Alright, cool. That kind of throws me.
Good Lord, Brad.
Alright, so as Bart allows that information to sink in, we will move over to, because I thought, was Shadrach casting a spell this morning, or did I mistake that?
Shadrach is still in his thicket.
Okay, so maybe it was Vanessa that was going to cast a spell.
Yes.
Okay. So we will turn to Vanessa.
After praying, she's still in her quarters. She takes each of the sacred bundles into her hands. She raises her hand above her head, both of them. O heavenly blend, cosmic omnipotent benevolence, let the magic flow from the ancient sacred bundle into the next generation and pass on its magic. She casts Dwimmerflow. In the second version, which is on page 227 of the priest handbook, or not handbook, spell book. Second version is the final paragraph in the description.
I was looking at that.
It's a long description, that's why I'm saying that. And she attempts to extract the magic from the sacred bundle of Phimez and inject it into her own sacred bundle.
All right, the very first thing you need to do is you need to roll a religion check to see if this very rare spell from the Forgotten Realms will work for you.
I do have a question about that rule, being that the blend is your own creation of a religion. None of the spells in the book will say, it's from the blend or whatever. So will that be a roll on every spell?
No.
Or will that be,
there's
healing spells and stuff would be considered in my religion?
There's lots of spells in the player's handbook that aren't specific to anything.
Okay. Yeah, and a lot are. And then I've been wondering about that a little bit in the past. And I thought, yeah, Cop's just being generous. There's no mistakes, Cop. There's just happy little accidents. All right, I'm going to roll my D20. 5 on my religion check, that is 19, giving me a 24. Oh no, plus 4, because I am a priest of the blend. 29. 28, sorry. 24 plus 4 is 28.
Okay. So what I'm looking up here is it says a saving throw versus spells must be made by both items. Well, I don't think items say versus spell unless I'm mistaken.
They're not the typical magic item, but I'm assuming, I'm pretty sure that they are both magic items.
Let me see if that's something that might be listed on here. It would be nice if it was. Okay.
If it makes any difference, my own sacred bundle will successfully say it failed, and let it happen. That sort of thing. But I don't think I can control that.
Let me just read it again. I'm just not familiar with this spell. Maybe I need to read the whole thing.
Well, it's a long description, but like I said, that's why I've just pointed out that it's the very last paragraph. That is the second version, but the rest might give you some insight. in the first version, cast it on yourself and allow your spell to flow into a receptacle. Like if I were going to create a magic item, if I sculpted a ring and I wanted to cast a spell, I could use Dwemer Flow if the item was crafted successfully enough and was unique that it would accept. If it was a high enough quality, it would accept the spell. And then another wizard could cast permanence upon something that I had created in that way. I've begun experimenting a little, or researching, I should say, a little bit on how to possibly make some items.
Yeah, Dwemer Flow, yes, I've been looking at that too. There's 2 spells that go together.
All right, well, since
Yeah.
it says a saving throw versus spell must be made by both items, well, I'm going to say that the saving throw is you saving versus spell.
Okay.
So, for which item are you going to save for first?
Fimez.
Now, hold on here now, just so you know how this works. A saving throw versus spell must be made. If the sending item fails, the Dwemer Flow spell is ruined. If the
But
receiving
no charges are expelled.
If the receiving item fails, the charge or spell being transferred is lost, sometimes with a spectacular effect. So, so roll a saving throw first for Fimez's Sacred Bundle.
All right, here we go. 13. My saving throw versus spell is 12.
All right. And now roll a saving throw for your Sacred Bundle.
16.
Okay. So as you're casting the spell, you feel mana begin to flow from each hand and start to surround each item. And a slight glimmer and a swirling effect just faintly starts to circle around your hands as your larger than average size hands engulf the sacred bundles. And then the magic starts to draw out of Fimez's sacred bundle. And as it draws forth, you feel that same feeling of being hugged by your mother and the smell that she had in the evenings when she would put you to bed. And then you hear as if you were playing hide and seek as a child. I am here. And just as quickly as that sound echoes in your mind, the scent fades and you feel the mana move into and through you and into your sacred bundle. And after a minute of this, the spell seems not to be as exhausting as you might think. And as the wisps of helix drift off into the ethereal plane, you now feel one sacred bundle weigh a little bit more than the other. And the spell ends.
All right. I will compose myself and gather my things and move out to the courtyard.
All right. Pikel and Bart, you're done with your morning routine of praying and or memorizing. And Pikel is in the smithy, and then what's Guy and Boris up to right now?
Guy was going to go see the abbot.
Oh, that's right. And Boris?
Boris will go out to the grove and gather his spear and bow and arrows and things and relax at the edge of the grove watching the craftsmen. And he'll go toward the crafts area.
All right. So Guy, you go to the abbot's chambers.
Yeah, I asked permission. I don't just barge in.
Yeah, the little building there, and the person that answers the door is the little assistant there. Yes, good morning. May the blend keep you safe and guide your journey.
May the blend guide your journey as well. I seek a brief audience with the abbot before I leave.
Well, hold on. Let me see if the abbot is receiving. And she closes the door. Short time later, the door opens and Abbot Patrick's standing there in his nightshirt, nightcap, and he's like, "Man, I don't know what time it was. Jeesh." He's like, "Come on in."
I go down on one knee right there.
He says, as you go down, he's like, "Get up, get in here. What do you want? You want tea or do you want something stiffer? Hurry up."
I walk in.
He closes the door. And he's like, "Go sit over there on the couch. Wait a second. Do you want anything to drink?"
No, my lord. I'm leaving soon, and I came to make a special request.
Is this in your official capacity as a vassal of... I forget your lord's name already.
Ludovico, Count Ludovico, my lord.
Is this in Ludovico's name or is this in yours?
This is in my name, my lord.
The name is Patrick.
You are the abbot of this monastery, and I must treat you with respect.
Well, okay, I'll play that game. I order you to fucking drink this tea and be quiet for a minute while I wake up. And he walks over with a teacup and a little, whatever you call the little plate that the teacup sits on.
A saucer.
A saucer, and he hands it to you. And he takes a drink of this warm liquid, and he's like, "Oh."
He tastes it.
It's just tea. You don't like it, huh? You don't have to drink it then. Just set it down. Okay, what's all this then? And he goes and sits behind his desk and kind of puts his feet up and looking very unprofessional, but he doesn't seem to care.
He produces a bag, places it on the desk very, not very politely. He doesn't like throw it down or anything like that. I offer this donation, and I offer these coins to the monastery so that you might, for as long as you may choose, have someone give a daily prayer to my Squire Paco and pray for his soul, wherever it may be. He died bravely in my service much too soon. I should have seen him return to his family, and I will go to his family and make recompense for his death. And I put, the bag has 100 platinum pieces in it. But this is for the monastery and for Paco's memory.
Patrick kind of gets up and reaches over and looks at the bag and opens it up, and kind of his eyes go wide, and then he kind of takes it and pushes it back over. We don't accept coin to do service.
No. Give this to the people then, that they may thrive here. I don't give this to you as a charge for a service. I give this to you as a donation.
You
in
won't.
Paco's name.
How can you learn a lesson if you don't do it yourself? I'm not your errand boy. If you feel badly about what happened to Paco, and you think that giving money to poor people is going to make a difference, then you do that. That is not what the blend believes.
Okay. I was going medieval here, where they paid for.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But I hope that I made it clear that the blend doesn't do things for money.
Okay. Well, he is kind of backwards.
Okay.
He's old school.
That's fine. But
he seems kind of confused, and he's like.
Patrick's like, relax. I can tell this isn't my first time either dealing with pain or adventures or lost loves or any of all that, all right? But here's the thing. We of the blend believe that there is a place for that, but that's just not part of our faith. We don't. There are those faiths out there that perhaps you might have dealt with in the past, or maybe it's just your grief and you're thinking, what can you do? You really want to do something with this money, and I know you didn't ask for this advice, but I'm going to give it because you seem really in distress. And nobody's ever made that face when I gave them tea before, so listen up. Take this money, give it to Paco's family. They'll appreciate that. It's not a replacement for Paco, but if Paco has children or brothers and sisters or parents that say are indentured or owe money, that could really help somebody like that out. Around here, we're simple folk, but we don't, sure you got to pay the craftsmen and whatever, but that's because they're providing a non-religious service, and anything that we do by default is religious because that's what we're devoted to. Even if something's not religious, like me sitting in this chair in a nightcap and a nightshirt, technically it's religious. I know, not everything has to make sense. Anyway, I'm sorry for your loss, Sergei. I really am. I've lost people too, and it's part of the reason I joined the blend to begin with. I've had enough loss, and I decided that I was going to change. And so I did the scariest thing that I could do, and I left my old life behind. If I could see my old buddy Don Quixote one more time before I'd go, I'd pay anything. But alas, he's gone. So you got to do what you can while you're alive. And
Live, my lord. I've seen him and spoken to him.
Okay, look, that isn't funny. I understand that you're grieving.
I beheld the curse lifted from him.
I think you need to be quiet. And I'd like you to make a charisma check, please.
Thank goodness he has a high charisma. Well, I rolled a 29 total.
He says, you need to go.
I leave the money and go. I have money for Paco's family already.
When you get up and you start to head towards the door, he says, take the bag.
Take the bag.
I kneel and take it.
Good luck to you on your journey, Sir Guy. It's been a pleasure.
Hello? And I leave hastily.
And whenever the door closes, you hear Sir Patrick say, no more for visitors for today. I'm done. To his little servant guy, his little scribe. And where does Guy go now?
I want to find Bart, and then I'll do one last thing, and Guy will be done.
All right, Daryl, did you have your hand up, or was that Pikel? Nobody?
I don't remember raising my hand during that.
Okay. All right, so Bart, how long are you going to stay in the mansion?
I'm not in the mansion. I'm in a secure shelter, small as you can see.
How long?
I'm staying in there. I'm casting another spell.
Okay.
Divination vision. I take off my cloak of avoidance, pull it up in front of me, and I use it as a sacrifice. The material component of the spell is sacrifice of something valued by the spellcaster or the power supplicated.
Oh.
More precious the sacrifice, the better the chance for the spell success. Very precious, very item that grants me +1. Extremely precious is +2, and priceless is +3. I don't know what you want to classify my cloak of avoidance as, but I consider it fairly precious.
Priceless, baby.
I'm telling you, it saved my life more than once.
I can imagine.
Okay. What power?
I'm calling upon Corellos.
And asking a question that will be answered with a vision. All right. What is your question?
Let's see. What do I need to do about Kronos' return to the world?
I'm going to assume that you meant Cryos.
Yeah, Kronos, you. Whoa.
No, it's cousin.
Okay. And then I would like you to roll 2d6 and give me and add them together. 2 6-sided dice and give me a total, please.
8.
All right. Suddenly, your fists clench the table that you're sitting at. Your eyes glaze over and then turn white. And an unknown wind whips up, causing your hair to blow. Lights flash. And then everything goes dark.
Nice.
Before you, you see a child with long hair, curly at the ends, fine features for a child, a sharp nose, a square jaw, wearing a white cloth that wraps over one shoulder and extends down across both sides of his body, held closed by a golden rope tied at the waist. A short, pointy sword hanging at its side, looking similar to that of the Achaemen's gladius. Sandals with leather tied up the calves, looking up at a man, another man, impossibly beautiful, impossibly handsome. The man that he is looking at has something in his hand, and the child says, "But Father, what would be the point of having the power of the heavens if you could do whatever you wanted? There would be no victories because there is no risk." And the father said, "That is wise, my son. Without risk, there are no victories. The question is, to achieve victory, are you willing to risk the wrath of your brothers and sisters? Is that the risk that you would like to take?" And he says, I just like looking at the stars. I don't want war." He says, "If you could see the stars all at once, you would see the power of the heavens and the crystal spheres, and you would see an untold number of other worlds and other realities. This is the power of the heavens, the crystal spheres, each one at your beck and call, and you could travel to each one through the astral sea. Does that sound like something you would like to do, son?" And the boy says, "Yes, I want to go to the crystal spheres in the sky and travel upon the astral sea to other worlds. I wish to learn everything that's out there. This place only offers temporary pleasure, but eternal pain." He says, "Then take this ring, and with it you will be able to control the heavens and gain the infinite knowledge of the cosmos. But be careful. There will be those that will attempt to take it from you. Guard this with your life. And whatever you do not try to see one crystal sphere more than you can see. Do not use any power, no matter how tempting, to see more than one sphere at a time, for it will drive you mad or inflict upon you the horrible pain that the universe is capable of." "Oh, I won't, Father. I won't. I promise I won't succumb to the desires of our ancestors. I won't seek to know everything all at once." And then your vision changes to a crippled, decayed, boil-covered, pus-oozing giant with slaves all around him, sitting on a throne of bones with a ring missing its gem on its right hand. And it looks right at you and says, "I will never stop trying to see everything. and I will find what is mine. And I will destroy any chance for the mother of dragons to have another child. And then lastly, the vision changes one more time, and you see a golden tree with a golden sun behind it, and standing in front of it is the most beautiful elf that you've ever seen. And you think it's Corellin Lorethian, but it can't be, because the legends say to see the high elf in all his glory would break the spirit and send you to Arvandor prematurely, because you would wish to join him, and you would be committing elven suicide, which is against your culture, ingrained so deep that any elf that does commit suicide is actually barred from entering the eternal heavens that the elves have. And he says, you can pick only one of two ways. You must heal him or you must destroy him. And then lastly, your vision turns to a city by the sea, a bustling seaport. And your vision zooms in closer into the middle of the city, into a very opulent brown house with a second story and a woman who you can see right through standing on a balcony in a flowing dress. And there are many, many more as your vision moves into the house, as if the house is filled with ghosts. And sitting on a chair, looking at a skeleton inside of another skeleton, a man looks at you and says, I'm not going back. And your vision ends. And your cloak successfully gave you the jump that you needed for the vision to be so successful. And as you come out of the vision, your cloak slowly fades away, turns to ash, and then blows away into wherever it goes. And we play taps for the Cloak of Avoidance.
For a great night for that win. Nice. After that, I take a nap.
I thought he was going to say take a dump. That's good. That was a lore dump. That wasn't a literal dump.
We're gonna set up that.
Okay, so some time has passed. It's about time for the big meal of the day. The work has mostly been done by the monks, the tending of the gardens, the tending of the animals, the milking of the cows and sheep, the churning of butter, the knitting, the crafting area, the cleaning, the vespers, the praying to and helping travelers as they come through the abbey looking to find a place of rest, of worship, pit stop, what have you. So, unless I'm mistaken, I think everyone would meet up at some point around this time. Am I forgetting anyone? Jason has his hand up.
Chad does not leave his nest.
Okay. So...
And Guy will leave. He wants to find Bart. That's the only thing he wants to talk to Bart real quick.
So what will he do to try to find Bart?
Look around for him. I know what to look for.
Roll a D20. Roll a perception check, please.
Well, 22.
The only thing you find are Pikel, Vanessa, Boris, and I think that's it, right?
He will look at Vanessa and say, "My lady," and hand her a bag and say, "Take this. You need this more than I do. I'm leaving now."
Your help has been extremely important. I'm sorry about Paco.
Thank
What
you.
is this? What is this?
Consider this my gift to you all, to you, for your trouble. And how
What
much
is it?
money,
Oh, I
coins I found, the coins that were given to me. I have money for Paco and his family. Don't worry. Take this in his memory. Use it for something good.
I will use this money to purchase labor to build the new temple at the Deepwater Port. It will
Thank
be
you,
a
my lady.
symbol.
He'll kneel
Freedom.
and kiss your hand if you'll let him.
She does.
My lady. He'll get up, he'll stand up, he'll look at everybody who's there, he'll bow deeply, draw his sword, say, "For the Republic!"
Daryl, were you
Then
wanting
walk
to,
away.
hold on, Daryl, were you wanting to interrupt something?
Yeah, when you were kneeling to kiss my hand, she's going to put her hand on your shoulder and cast bless. Heavenly blend, watch over Guy on his travels. This brave knight deserves your protection.
Then I will cry for the Republic. And I will bow deeply, like I said, bow deeply to everybody there. I'll give Pikel a look and wink and then walk off.
Wait, but before you go, you fool. He writes on a piece of paper some Dwarven signs. It says, "Welcome, visitor in Dwarvish. When you get to your people, you visit Hammerhead Mines, and they will set you up and help you with the agreements."
I'll treasure this, Shorty. Pikel and Hammerhand. He'll tuck it in his tunic and walk away.
I would like all of you that are present to make charisma checks, please. So that would be Vanessa, Boris, Pikel, and Guy. And I will ask for numbers here. And we'll start at the top. Pikel?
Alright, super light. 20. No, I can't read.
20 total? Pikel, 20 total?
22.
22, okay. Guy?
26.
Vanessa?
15,
And Boris?
16.
Okay. So, as Guy says, "For the Republic," and he notices like there's two guys that are walking by and they stop and they look, and they both look at Guy and one of them nods and the other one goes, "Yeah!" And then the other one kind of hits him and they keep moving. That's what that gets you. All right. So Guy has
As long as there's no disrespect, Guy walks away.
no. They seem like the one was like seemed excited. He was seeing something. The other one's like, "Yeah, no, that's nothing." And the one that was like, he said, "No, that's nothing." He kind of looked at Vanessa and was like, "Hey." Okay. So Guy heads off.
On foot, no less.
Okay.
I'll write a
So
little story about Guy in the next week or so.
Right on. So Bart, you take your nap and then you're hungry. It's time for it's dinner time. How long does your secure shelter remain up?
4 hours plus 1 hour per level, so 15 plus. Yeah,
All right, so it's
15 plus 4 hours.
it's so you realize it's getting ready to run out anyway. So
Yeah.
where do you go after your shelter winks out of existence?
I go back to the courtyard, see if everybody's still there.
All right, so as you are walking back and you come through the gate, you see several of your companions between the crafting area and the temple. You see Guy stand up and raise his sword, and you're not close enough to hear the conversation, but he raises his sword and does like a salute, and then Pikel hands him something, and they kind of nod at each other, and then Guy walks off, and then Bart, you can enter that scene there. So now there's
Where is he?
Bart, Boris, Pikel, and Vanessa are there.
Prince B, says Vanessa, did you ever determine what was in those vials that we found near the corn maze?
Yeah, the fiber. One was a poison, one was a couple doses of protection from fire, and the other one was, I don't remember what they were.
Okay. I just thought that I would offer my services if you hadn't been able to identify those. Because I can identify potions of healing or poisons.
Okay. I don't know what kind of poison it is, but I know it's poison.
I could attempt to check it out if you want. If you need any.
I was just saying emoji, I don't need any of them.
Oh, I don't need them, but I just was offering my service.
Do with them as you please, I mean, I don't...
If you wish, I will take them.
Yeah, please.
So we got
Breaking.
one vial poison.
Bart, I thought you told me that one of those was a oil of ether realness.
One of them is an oil of ether.
Okay, one vial of fire protection.
Yeah, 2 doses.
Okay.
And the other was ether, what is it? Ether.
Oil of ether realness.
I got it here somewhere.
Oil of ethereal.
Ethereal?
But that's what you told me.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's true, but that's what you told me. So.
It's,
I will tell you, since you're a fucktard and don't
I asked him a
remember.
long time ago and wrote it down, and all I remember was oil of ether realness and poison.
One potion of a weak poison
right.
has a 5% chance of being fatal, otherwise causes extreme fatigue that lasts for 2d4 hours with a failed saving throw. One use. One.
Change the fire resistance.
Daryl, are you writing this down? Okay, let me
I'm
know.
listening.
Let me know when you're ready for the next one. You ready?
Yes.
One potion of fire resistance lasts for 4d4 rounds, cuts all fire damage by half, or negates with a successful saving throw, if applicable. 2 uses.
And the
lastly
last one.
is one oil of etherealness, lasts for 4 plus 1d4 turns, applied to creature enclosed. Target is as a ghost. Movement is normal but can move through solids. 1 use.
How many uses was the poison again?
1.
Okay.
I had vision too.
Now what I'm about to say is a joke. It's supposed to be funny. But remember earlier in the day when you guys were giving me shit about, well, you used the fucking treasure tables. Yeah, that's how I got these off the fucking treasure table. So suck my fucking dick.
Oh.
No.
He went
And
down.
and
He already went down, he said.
and the joke's over. Okay.
No, I asked, Brad knew this a long time ago when it first happened because he wrote it down, and I remember distinctly the oil of ether realness and the poison. That's the only 2 that I knew out of the 3, so that's cool.
That's cool.
And, well, the reason is it's 4 plus 4d4 rounds.
That's cool.
And that cob is why I asked him about it. I didn't expect him to give them to me, but okay.
How many times, Brad, did I nag you about those potions?
Yeah.
I was like, what are those potions, Brad?
Brad,
And he knew.
Yeah,
and
but-
it was just gonna bring me.
yeah, but
okay.
you shouldn't fucking shake keys in front of Brad. You know how he gets distracted. Okay, anyway, so you guys are there. Keep going.
Vanessa will approach Boris and use her healing proficiency to tend his wounds and clean him up, and then she will lay on hands, which I believe is 1d or 1 hit point per level.
2 hit points per level.
2 hit points per level. Okay. Nice.
That's pretty tough. That's like the Windlash, dude. That's hardcore. And I totally agree with you, Cobb, about the Windlash. It says whip, and I thought that being magical, it would be the casting time, and I totally agree with you. My one question to you is, when a spell is cast, does it start the next turn on how many turns or how many rounds it lasts? Or does it start on the round it's cast?
Hey guys, I'm gonna clock out early. My wife's been away for 4 days, so.
Okay, that's okay.
Take it easy, Clark.
I was-
Good talking to you, buddy.
I was gonna cut out a little early tonight anyway,
He's going
so.
to cash that in, Clark. He's going to cash that in.
Clark, be good. We'll see you next week.
Take it easy, buddy.
That's not the plan.
So your
I
question.
cast endurance on Clark.
Oh, I see. He won't need a 37 now. So, Jason, your question is, when you cast a spell, when does the duration start? So normally, if it affects something in the round that it's cast, then that's when the duration starts. I'm
So the
not.
Windlash would start the next round then.
Well, if you're not, I mean, that wouldn't be fair if you don't get to attack with it, that a round of it would go away. So, no, it would start when the next round.
Yeah, and it says if I change targets, I lose a round, and that's fine. I understand that.
That's
So,
weird. Okay.
no, if I have to change targets, I lose a round because I have to. I get that. I understand that. So
Okay.
my simple question was, if I get Windlash for 9 rounds, do I get it for 9 rounds after I cast it?
Yeah,
Okay, but I don't attack with it that round.
correct.
It's
Okay.
forming.
Right, I get that. That's fine. Because I have
Um,
several spells that take effect after I cast them. So it's like, why would you lose a round? That doesn't really make sense. But it's D&D. I know.
If it were me, I would say that the first round is when you cast it, and it takes that round to form the energy, and then the next round you can attack, but that's the second round. That's just me. So Cobb is generous DM.
I fully agree with that, and I'm pretty sure Windlash is a bad spell. It
is. It's kick-ass.
Now here's another question for you, Cobb. After you said about the having to roll for spellcraft or religion, spells I've already cast, do they count towards that? Or because like Oxen Strength and Lion's Claws, I've looked at the descriptions and some of them are rare, but having already cast them, can I still cast them without having to roll a spellcraft or religion check? That's my question. I mean, because you know that I've cast Oxen Strength and Lion Claw many times.
Yeah. I mean, I would lean towards yes, simply because it's you're using another god's spell, and gods are fickle.
I mean, and another thing is those spells on those in the list say from the Forgotten Realms or the Dark Suns. If you could tell me what I can and can't do, that would help a lot.
Well, I would say I covered it with the... I mean, you can do whatever's in the player's handbook automatically because those aren't tied to any certain deity.
You're right. There's a lot of spells that say common for druids.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I'm not trying to like cast everything under the sun. A lot of the spells are like racial, and I don't even touch those. Like elf or dwarf or halfling, I won't cast those spells.
Yeah,
so
I use them.
Alright, so I cast a vision spell this morning. Would you have to kill him or heal him?
And I'm not trying to like hog the spell casting because I know that's a powerful thing, but druids still have a lot of stuff they can do. So
well, I just wanted to throw another option in there instead of just removing them all from the program. It's like, well, if they're there, maybe there's, you know, your religion non-weapon proficiency should have a tangible in-game use. That's just my opinion. I mean,
just making sure.
I'm sure.
So basically, if they're on my list, I can try. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes it a lot easier for me because, like I said, there's quite a few spells that, because of the racial classification, I didn't even touch them. So,
all right.
There's a lot of spells also that are speak with whales and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't think Shad can speak with a whale. No experience with whales for Shad.
Apparently you can if you make your religion check.
Well, then I appreciate that clarification.
Because I'm you know, religion's one of those fucking things where it's like, it's like this. Nuh-uh. So that's the way
it's like there's Dark Sun, there's Shamans, Shojinkas, and it's like, if I can try to cast any of those spells, I will.
Just so long as you're aware that, you know, anybody could roll a 1 at some point and be like, oh no.
Yeah.
But I could roll a 20. Same thing, and I got 37s. I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
But I appreciate the clarification because, like I said, there's quite a few spells I didn't even get near because I didn't think I could cast them.
So Pykel, after Vanessa lays hands on Boris, Pykel's like, wow, if you're gone before I come back, good luck to you, Boris. And if you're ever in near the northern realms in the far, far east, look for White Plume Mountain. Come for a visit. And he says, apparently I don't feel well and I'm going to go and lay down. And he leaves.
Gonna have a nap with Bart.
Okay. Bart,
Are
you trying to get my attention?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, before everybody left the area, I was trying to cast a vision spell this morning. until I found out that we have to kill him or heal him. One of the two. Just stop him.
And just remember, nobody has seen Shad since yesterday.
Healing him wouldn't stop him, says Vanessa.
According to the vision, it might.
That was my mother's plan.
It's pain.
Yeah,
There's
I
more
know.
than one way to cure pain.
I hate this
pain, sir. But, as I said, again, Shad has not turned back into human form yet.
I want Daryl to punch me through the screen.
Just so you know, Vanessa is feeling very guilty.
I don't believe her, fucking bitch.
She soaked up her magic, though.
You sucked up her
Healing
magic.
him causes more problems, but he's in a weakened state now. We can kill him.
Vanessa, you need to come find Shad.
But that's all I gotta say.
I don't condone killing,
I know.
but I don't think he deserves healing either.
Well, I'm just saying. That you don't have to be a part of the killing.
Balance. Relief.
Yeah.
Something's blowing in the wind. I'm not sure what that is.
But we need to figure it out. We need the whole party here, but you know, if everybody wants to just bang, we can fucking find another party.
He just left.
I know, I can find another party, you know.
He's heading home, he said.
Well, if we catch him, we might want to catch him.
He's walking, so it ain't gonna be hard.
I cast Venom, Steve. I run over him. Okay. Alright. Man, this guy keeps trying to call me. I gotta answer this phone call. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, hey guys, that's a good. Boris, is Boris going to stay around or is he going to take off, Daryl?
He's not leaving yet because he knows they're heading north. He needs to head north. He wants to travel together to a point.
The DM is unaware of them going north. Did I miss something?
That's what we were all talking about, heading north from the monastery to the stone, the egg.
Well, Shad told...
The stone is south by the ocean.
Stone.
Oh! When Boris finishes his carving, then he will leave.
What's the carving?
A crow.
And does he just finish it and then put it in his bag and head off, or?
No, he wants to say a farewell to Shadrach, his elder guide.
I see. So how long is Shadrach going to stay in the woods?
It's obvious if Bart disperses his mansion or whatever he cast, that where there was normally just some open trees and stuff, there's this big lump of growth that's there. And Shad's still in there. He's waiting for sundown, actually.
Sunday.
He's spending the whole day. Yep, he's spending the whole day meditating, and let me know when the sun starts to go down. Unless they come to look for me.
So Boris, you don't know where Shadrach is. What are you going to do all day?
I'm going to attempt to buy a regular bow. Do they make bow and arrows here?
Yes.
I will buy a dozen arrows and an actual bow instead of the old rickety rustic, I forget the right term now, crude, instead of the crude one that I've been carrying that I made.
Okay. Well, that costs equipment. Bow.
Costs too damn much.
You getting a short bow?
Yep.
That's 30 golden coins.
Which is how many copper? 300? Or 90?
Come on, give him a platinum
No,
piece,
it
you
is
jerk.
300 coppers.
Okay.
And then flight arrows are 3 silver pieces for 12 of them, for a dozen.
Alright. And that breaks down to less copper. 3 silver would be
30
15?
copper. 30 copper.
30. Okay. I pay in copper coin.
Copper coins. And then I'm guessing you would like a quiver to carry the arrows.
I have one.
You have one. Very good. All right. Okay, so you get yourself a bow and arrow, and then what?
He'll have meals with people and just he'll stalk the grove,
Okay.
thinking that Shadrach's probably a tree or a bird or something. He's just gonna hang out in the grove all day.
So nighttime approaches. What do you do, Shadrach?
At sundown, at the edge of the thicket that I created, Shadrach has, based on the spell, he has pulled his way through the thorns and the thickets, not trying to, slip through magically. And with like a little loincloth, basically, Shadrach stumbles out of this thicket, bloodied, covered in scratches, and just, he looks like he's been through a wood chipper. And he stumbles out, and he stands up, but he just kind of looks around. And if he sees anybody, he's not, Shadrach at this point does not recognize anybody.
Well, he sees Boris,
He's in a kind of trance.
who's sitting on a stump. And I can imagine Boris sitting on a stump for a long time, peacefully, just waiting without having too much angst or whatever. Daryl, you can tell me if I'm wrong. And then
No, you are not.
stumbling out of the woods appears to be this crazed wild man, nearly naked in his short clothes, covered in scratches and small cuts, and before you recognize it's Shadrach, and his hair is all down, and he's not wearing his
Shadrach,
armor or
What
anything.
happened to you?
Shadrach
What happened to
looks
you?
He looks at you like he doesn't know who you are. But his eyes are normal human eyes. And he kind of like...
What happened to you?
Toward you. The time is soon. I must go north.
I too am heading north. Yes, I'm Boris Crumb. What are you
Grab your
doing?
arm.
He takes Shadrach's arm. Are you okay? What have you done?
I've spoken with spirits of the earth and the sky. I must go north. I have no choice.
Shadrach,
Put his hand on your chest. And when he puts his hand on your chest, he smears blood all down your chest.
Shadrach, roll a d6 for me.
Oh dear.
I'm going north too.
You take 2 hit points from
Two.
fucking not giving a shit, walking through the fucking forest and scraping every jib along the way.
Where are your clothes?
What?
Where's your robe? I always dress like that, but you usually wear a robe.
My robe. I will cast a spell. I will cast Cleanse and appear clean and normal in the clothing that I have drawn before. And I will stand upright, kind of shakily, holding on to Boris' shoulder, and say, okay.
What are you doing in the north?
We need to leave. We need to return to the fortress.
I was heading north too. I need to check on Nebula.
I hope your sister is alive and well. I'm sure she is. Stay with me until we reach the fortress, and then do whatever you choose.
Okay.
Thank you, Boris. You've been a great help.
I appreciate everything you've done, Shadrach. You've given me some direction.
You'll laugh and say the balance. Remember, if anything, keep the balance, Boris.
I agree.
You'll hold on to Boris' shoulder and walk with him wherever he walks.
I'll head back toward the monastery. And Cobb, if you're saying I have to get rid of Boris this session, then okay, he says, fuck you, he leaves. Otherwise, I'll head north with Shadrach and part ways when we get there.
I figured that was the case.
And why is Shadrach going north?
The stone.
This,
To guard the stone and make sure the Acaramans don't come back and make that fort again.
the stone is in the south.
I thought the stone was south of the fort, but north of the monastery. That was my impression. I'm obviously wrong.
No, when
Okay,
you
well,
guys
Shad's gonna head to
when
the
you
stone.
guys were on that island with all of the tokens and the race, that was in the off the west coast, but it was more south, and so the monastery is a little more north than
I
that.
thought even in the past that we went north to the fort from the monastery.
Yeah, but you had to go when you went to the island. See, the island
Okay,
is south of the fort.
So you're not going north, Shadrach. You're going south.
No, Burbage, yeah. Shad's going to the stone.
In that case, Boris gives you a wooden carving of a crow that he's made by hand. He blackened it on the fire. This is for you, Shadrach. And it's just a simple carving. It's part of my brush runner kit. He has artistic ability. It's got some like 1d4 plus 2 GP value. It's just an animal carving. This is to show my respect. I have to go now.
Shadrach grasps the carving and turns into a crow and lands on Boris' shoulder. Rah! Rah!
Boris begins to run.
I fly in the direction he runs
Some
for a good
little,
long while, and then I'll turn back and go back to the monastery.
some little kid's there, and he says, "Run, boys, run!" And that's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
As Boris Crump returns, hopefully safely. Daryl, roll me a D20. Let's see what happens to Boris on the way home.
5.
Oh
Roll a
no,
one, Daryl.
that can't be good. All right, we'll see what that 5 yields in the future. So, all right.
Like I said, I'm going to write a story about Guy returning. So, for what it's worth.
in the line of stories, if you could answer me one question, Cobb, then I could perhaps begin the outline of story for Reginald. You asked me about maybe writing a story, but last time I wrote a story for Reginald, we did some dice rolling and you're like, yeah, none of that happened. So I just want, if you can tell me, did he make it to checks?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I can write a story of his journey to checks from the Deepwater Fort. All right.
Well, all right.
Cool.
All right.
I'm gonna make you cry with that new story. I'm gonna make you cry.
Well, good.
No, Cobb don't have a heart.
I look forward to shedding a tear over Obi-Wan's death. Oh.
Well, I hope I didn't cause too much drama today, but I just had to vent. So, it's all good in my eyes, buddy.
Everything's good with me.
We're still here, right?
Yeah,
For
but
next week, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because
Green?
next week is
11th? No. 17th?
18th. Okay, yeah. So we're still good. All right,
We got some epic shit to do.
gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Good night.
I love
Good
you.
night.
Oh.
Love you too, brother. Thank you, Internet. It was a short one, but a good one.